This is the final round of the second ChessBase India 4th Saturday tournament that happens at the Phoenix Market City. With the white pieces, we have the experienced Amardeep Bartakke who is on 5 points, and we have Annirudhha Potawad, the talented youngster who is on 6 out of 6. We get the Ruy Lopez on the board with bishop b5, and he goes for the Berlin with knight f6. Will Amardeep go into the endgame? No, he goes for the anti-Berlin with d3. Bishop comes out to c5, and Amardeep castles in the position d6, c3. a6 played on the board, bishop a4. We are like almost in now Ruy Lopez territory. Castles and bishop g5. Early development of the bishop to g5, pinning the knight. That's quite an irritating pin, especially when the bishop is outside the pawn chain. You cannot even go back to block it. How is Annirudh going to deal with this is a question. The game is 5 minutes plus 2 seconds increment. Generally, when there is this pin, you get a bit worried. He plays h6. Amardeep keeps the pin on the board. And now, will Annirudh be bold enough to play g5? It's a bit too much. It's risky because white can sacrifice a piece. Whether it's correct or not remains to be seen. Annirudh is taking his time there, just making sure that all his calculations are in order, because if he wins this game or even draws it, he would be the champion. If Amardeep beats his opponent, they would both tie at the top for 6 points, and then the tie break would come into the picture to determine who would be the champion. Already Annirudh is down a minute on the clock. This can become crucial. He's thinking there can be few ideas like bishop e6 could be a possibility, but then you have to watch out for d4, d5, and so bishop g4 is also possible. He goes g5. He plays that move, and now bishop g3 is a natural move, but you can see there Amardeep not playing that instantly because he is wanting to sacrifice a piece, and that's his plan here. Let's just try to analyze. After takes bishop g5, there is a pin, but how do you increase the pressure? One way is that you go king h1 and f4. That could be a possibility. Oh my god, he takes it. Takes bishop g5 on the board. Has to play carefully now. As we mentioned, king h1 and f4 is an important idea here. So maybe the best defense now is king g7, and if you go king h1, then go rook h8. And the very nice neat point is that if you play f4, there's this classy takes, king takes, check, and you can see that the king cannot go to g1 because the bishop controls it. And if you go to g3 after e takes f4, it's all over because knight h5 check is coming up, and it's going to be a massive attack. For example, if bishop takes knight h5, king f3, there is already knight takes f4, and the king is very exposed. But let's see if Annirudh will first make the move king g7. It's an important move here, guys. Yes, he plays it. Fantastic move by Annirudh. But Amardeep doesn't go for king h1. He goes queen f3, and he's putting pressure here. Rook h8 played. Again, the best move in the position. Although Annirudh has taken his time on the clock, he has been finding the best moves in the position. For Amardeep, the main problem is how to get his knight into the game. He plays knight d2, maybe now knight c4, knight e3, knight f5, or knight d5. This could be an idea. And now maybe a very strong move would be king g6, attacking the bishop, the king doing the bulk of the job there. And also he goes rook h6, maybe not needed, and it's a little bit hasty decision to give back material. He wants to put his rook on g6, but in effect Amardeep will now get Not just he has 2 pawns for a piece, now he'll get a rook as well. So this is clearly now in white's favor, and a very strong move here is d4. Why? Because once you have a weak king, your opponent's king is weak, it makes sense to open up the position. But Amardeep takes on c6, and now he can still go d4. Notice this line, takes, and now knight b3 followed by cd4. White has a very powerful center, but instead he plays h3, a bit too slow, a tad too slow here, because he is slightly low on material here. He should have played it a little faster. He goes bishop e6, and now Amardeep still has to think about the d4 break, because if black manages to solidify in this position, then he would be doing okay. The minor pieces would be strong, and that's the reason why Amardeep's chance is now. He must strike. He has 3 minutes on the clock. Plays his rook to d1. Yes, he is preparing d4, but does he have enough time? Anirudh goes queen h8 on the board, knight to f1, and now d4 on the cards. But you see the queen is nicely positioned here. Rook to g8 played. Whoa! What's your plan to d4? Is Amardeep going to do that? Yes, he pushes d4. That's a good move. Now logical would be not to take here and open the position. Just move your bishop back. It's still a big fight, and you always feel uncomfortable with a king on h6. And look at the time. Anirudh has only 1 minute 33 seconds left on the clock. Good move, bishop b6. Just keeping the center. It was an important decision to make there. He keeps the bishop on the long diagonal, also the center under control. Knight g3. Amardeep trying to get in his knight into the game. Now one way is to get your king back here and try to rush to f8, but he gets his queen to g7. Also a nice move. Rook to d3 played. And queen g5. Fantastic chess by black. Slowly and steadily keeping the position closed, and the minor pieces will get stronger as the time goes by. For Amardeep, it's a question as to how to activate the rook. Even after taking on e5 de, the rook has an open file but no entry point. So he goes b3. Very interesting. I guess somewhere he wants to try for c4, c5 or something on those lines, or maybe a4. I'm not so sure. Or maybe just stopped bishop c4. Queen f4 played, offering a trade of queens. And maybe now taking the queen seems like the best option. So otherwise, the queen is now quite menacingly placed on f4. Both players now going down on time. Amardeep has less than 2 minutes, but Anirudh has only a minute on the clock. Anirudh is a very talented youngster. Although his rating is still in the 1800s, say he's very strong, as you can see by his moves. Amardeep keeps the queens on the board. It's natural to keep the queens on the board because you see the black king is exposed. And also, somewhere now the idea could be rook f3. Goes a5. That's a nice move. Just keeping control on the queen side. Rook d1 played. And now the king goes back. Now there's a chance for white. He can go knight h5, attacking the queen, also the knight. If knight takes, there will be queen h5 check, followed by the rook swinging. That could become risky. So Amardeep must find knight h5, and a plausible variation could be take and then queen h6. When after take and de5, it seems like the position is around equal or maybe even slightly better for white because he can trade the rooks. Let's see if he goes for knight h5. He's taking his time. This is the critical moment of the game. 1 minute left. The entire tournament depends on this. No, he goes rook f3, but this allows queen g5. And he's going king f1. Plays his king to f1. a4. Oof. Creating play on the queen side. d taken, and now you can take with the pawn. You can also take with the queen. It's an interesting decision to make. He takes with the queen here. A nice move. All of a sudden, the biggest thing that has happened in this position is that the bishop has opened up, and this bishop is a monster. And now the time is almost equal. Both players down to 30 seconds. c4 played, and he offers a draw there. And if Anirudh takes the draw, I think he's the champion. And he has 20 seconds, and his opponent is higher rated than him. So he must take the draw, yeah? Or not? Well, he wants to play on. That's the fighter spirit. He goes rook g6, and he says, I want to continue. It's a very interesting decision. Rook e1. And now queen to d4. Maybe once again the chance to play e5. No, he goes knight to f5. Queen goes back to e5 here. Good move, keeping his cool. g4. And the queen enters. Oof, what a nice move. That was the drawback. And rook g3 played. Check on h1. There's no space for the king, and he's losing pawns there. Rook g2 takes on g4, and now the game is over. It's done because now the rook is pinned. He gets his knight back, and Anirudh has seen a tactic. He takes on g3 because rook cannot take, it's pinned, and pawn takes will meet queen h1. The rook cannot come back. Amardeep resigns. Anirudh is a champion. What an exciting game that was, and an instructive one. Well played, Anirudh.